Hello, and welcome to the UCLA Marina Aquatic Center. Boating and water safety is very important to us, and after watching this brief orientation video, you will be able to rent a stand-up paddleboard at our facility. Let's get started. Before participating in any UCLA MAC water sport, you must be properly fitted in a life jacket, also known as a personal flotation device or PFD, to ensure fun and safety on the water. After changing, you will stop back by the wetsuit cage to pick up a life jacket. Once you have selected a size, first make sure that all the straps are completely loosened. Your life jacket should then be fully zipped up and buckled at the waist. Both the shoulder and side straps should be pulled tight to ensure that the life jacket is properly fastened. To test if your life jacket is correctly tightened, simply lift up on the shoulder straps. The strap should not go above your ears. This ensures that the life jacket will remain below the chin if you fall in the water. Before we get on the water, we need to know the equipment we are going to use. There are several board sizes and widths. The longer and wider boards are better suited for larger persons or less experienced paddlers. Shorter and narrower boards are better suited for smaller or more experienced paddlers. It may take some practice to figure out which size works best for you, but it's always safer to start with a larger board and work your way down to a smaller size. On the board itself, you have the nose, the tail, the leash, and the fin. With the paddle, we have the T-grip on the top and the front of the paddle, which always bends away from us. To size your paddle, start by unlocking the clip. Place the paddle directly in front of your toes and adjust the handle height so that your wrist is comfortably resting on top of the handle. Then, lock the clip into place. Let's get on the water. Place your board on the dock with the fin in the water. Attach the leash to your ankle. It should be loosely fitted, but tight enough so that it won't slip off. Grab the nose of your board and slide it into the water parallel to the dock, placing the nose facing upwind toward the marina entrance. Before you launch, take note of incoming wakes or traffic. Place your paddle on the board horizontally across the deck, slowly crouch down, and kneel onto the paddleboard. It is always important to launch and dock on your knees to ensure safety on and near the dock. Once you are balanced, launch your board by gently pushing away from the dock. Before standing, paddle in the kneeling position at least 15 to 20 feet from the dock. When paddling on your knees, the first thing to do is position yourself so that your weight is over the handle on the board. To paddle, put your bottom hand right down by the blade itself and the other hand a comfortable distance up the shaft. Reach out and place the paddle into the water with the bend of the paddle away from you. This is the way the paddle always faces. Push the water towards the tail, taking the paddle out at your body. To swap sides, simply swap your bottom hand over. To keep the boat going in a straight line, try and get your top hand above the bottom hand as much as possible while you are paddling. To turn the board, push water towards the nose, and on the other side, you can push water towards the tail, swapping your bottom hand over each time you switch. The wider the paddle goes away from the board, the easier the board will turn. The closer the paddle is to the board, the straighter it will go. Once you are 15 to 20 feet away from the dock, it's time to try standing. To get yourself standing, place the paddle across the board. Position yourself over the handle and bring yourself up onto all fours. Looking at the horizon and keeping your back straight, slowly stand up, keeping your knees bent. Make sure you are holding the paddle correctly. Place your top hand on the T-grip of the paddle and your other hand down the shaft of the paddle. To make sure that they are the right distance apart, place the paddle on top of your head and wait until your arms are at 90 degrees. From our standing position, we are ready to take our first forward stroke. Extend your arms out and place your paddle in the water. You are looking to draw it down the side of your board, pulling it out of the water by your feet. After a few strokes on each side, swap the bottom hand over and do a few strokes on the other side. As you start to paddle, the focus is on trying to keep the board going straight. To do this, try to reach across with your top hand and keep the paddle as vertical as possible. The more the top hand is over the bottom hand, the straighter you will go. To turn around, use the same concept as when you are kneeling. Push the water towards the nose, and on the other side, you can push the water towards the tail, swapping your bottom hand over each time you switch. The wider the paddle is from the board, the easier it will be to turn. The more vertical the paddle, the straighter you will go. When paddling in the marina, you might encounter wakes from other vessels. Simply turn your board and your hips to squarely face oncoming waves and bend your knees. If you feel unbalanced, drop to your hands and knees or even lay down. If falling is inevitable, lean out and away from the board. It is important to practice falling off and getting back on your board. You can always lay down and paddle with your arms like a surfer if your paddle is lost or if the current and wind is too strong to paddle. Remember to never remove your leash, take off your life jacket, or leave your board. Now that you know how to paddle, let's explore the marina. Marina del Rey offers plenty of seagoing fun from stand-up paddleboarding, sailing, kayaking, rowing, windsurfing, private charters, to deep sea fishing. Make sure you are continuously looking around for large boats and other motor or wind-powered traffic, constantly evaluating your surroundings to keep you and other boaters safe. Let's look at a map of Marina del Rey to help understand where to paddle. You are located here. UCLA renters are allowed to stand up paddleboard in the entrance and main channels of the marina. Paddlers should stay along the shoreline or hug the center buoy line. Stand-up paddleboard renters are not allowed to paddle in any of the basins or leave the marina. Since Marina del Rey is a commercial marina, swimming is prohibited. Some prominent landmarks of the marina include the U.S. Coast Guard and Sheriff's Station, Loyola Marymount University Boathouse, Burton Chase Park, and the gas dock. It is important at this time to notice the marina weather and traffic conditions, wind, waves, current, tide, and traffic. Stand-up paddlers are allowed to paddle with an 8-knot maximum wind average and a 12-knot maximum wind gust. The UCLA MAC staff reserves the right to determine when rentals and water activities are considered safe. Staff may choose to restrict activity for individuals or groups even if the listed thresholds have not been reached. Please note that afternoon winds will push you farther into the marina, making it easier to start that way, but harder to return as the wind continues to increase. Be sure to follow the right-of-way rules, staying along the shoreline or hugging the center buoy line. After you have explored the marina, here are some tips for docking. Notice which sports are using the dock when you're returning. Once within 15 to 20 feet of the MAC, drop down on your knees and paddle slowly. Carefully climb back onto the dock, staying low, and pull the nose back onto the platform. Bring all equipment back up the dock, enlisting the help of the dockmaster when necessary. The most damage to the boards occurs when the rails are dropped on the cement, so please ask for help when your arms are tired. After returning your equipment to the proper place, check in with the office clerk to note your safe return. Thank you for choosing to paddle at UCLA's Marina Aquatic Center.